Good morning, hello, good evening, wherever you're from, wherever you are right now watching this. I had something I wanted to share. It's been a little while since I've just done a couple random videos, but yesterday I was having a bit of a tougher day. I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit of a harder day, and my better half was like, read a book. No, I have so many I want to read. I love to read, by the way. Like, I have so many I want to read, I don't even know what one to pick. So finally, I just picked up a book, started reading it, and this book hit home pretty quick. All of a sudden, it was talking about promises and how we have stopped keeping promises to ourselves. Anyone else guilty of that? I 100% am guilty of that. And I was recognizing it, and I'm like, whoa, when did I stop keeping my own promises to myself? That was mind-blowing to me yesterday. And I'm like, I always used to keep promises. I always used to say, no, I'm doing that, and then just get it done. When did that stop? And so after reading that, I'm like, okay, I've heard this many times. Eric says it. There's a lot of other people who say it, that when we make a promise to ourselves and we break it, we're telling ourselves we're not good enough, we're not worth it, we don't need to make time for ourselves. Like, we're telling ourselves all these negative things. Would you like to be that friend that is always like, oh yeah, we're gonna hang out on Saturday and I'll see you then, and then they don't show up? How does that feel? That's the feeling you're giving yourself every single time you break a promise to yourself. And that's what hit home with me yesterday. So after that little experience, I took quite a little bit of extra time, and I wrote out all the things I've been trying to do and accomplish, all of the promises I've wanted to make to myself and just haven't done yet, and why, and what I could do to start them. What is the little tiny thing I can do to start those? And now, you also have to recognize that you can't do everything at once, right? You don't want to be like, whoa, okay, we got all of these, I'm going to get them all done tomorrow. Because when we make those super, super big promises, how do you fulfill those? You got to start really, really small. So my really small promise to myself that I am starting with is not hitting snooze and falling back asleep. This has been a tough one for me. I used to be one of those who would get up at 5 a.m. every single day. What happens for me in my world is winter hits and it gets dark till like 8 a.m. and I don't feel like getting up anymore at 5 a.m. But now it's summertime. So I'm really confused as to, hey, why am I still hitting snooze when it's light out? And I go for morning walks. I want to go outside. So that is my first promise that I want to make to myself. There's a lot of different little ones that came up. Another big one that came up in the wild fit world, in the wild fit sense, is often I'll make the promise to myself, I'm going into spring. Yep, we're doing it. We're just starting. We're going into spring. No questions asked, no preparing. Just tomorrow you're in spring. So just eat whatever, green vegetables and all the food that you have in your fridge that's spring approved, and hope for the best. That is a promise I have tried to make to myself many, many times. So it's very, very interesting. Now I'm seeing, hey, why don't I prepare myself? Why don't I make that promise to myself? But why don't I make that promise as one I can keep? Not saying, hey, I'm going to be in spring for a month. We'll see how that goes. No, instead being like, okay, I can get through spring for 5 to 7 days and see how I feel. If I feel really good, I'll keep going. Maybe if I'm like, that was enough benefits for me, I'll switch to another season. So these promises to ourselves are ones we have to make sure that we can keep, because that's where I know I have been personally failing, and I just wanted to bring it up for everyone else who's kind of the same. And they're like, hey, I'm making all of these promises and these big ambitions and I want to do everything, and then nothing's getting done. And honestly, it hurts more. It hurts more when nothing gets done. So take some time today and think about, what have you been trying to accomplish? When COVID broke out and everyone's like, we got to make COVID the best time ever. You could waste this lockdown. If you waste it and you don't build some good, healthy habits, you start building bad habits. Habits only take about a month to create. We were in lockdown. I don't know about you, but I was in lockdown for about 3-4 months. We still technically are. So definitely, like, just be aware. Be aware of, like, what did you want to do when everyone's like, hey, build all those healthy habits? What did you not do? What was that block? What was that factor? Were you trying too hard? For me, it was, I had said, I'm going to work out 3 days a week and walk every single morning. That was a big one. That was a lot, especially for someone who does not like home workouts. Get me to a gym, get me in a park, get me in a sports game, then yeah, totally, I'll work out and have some fun. But working out at home, just no, not my thing. So that promise, of course, was broken. And that promise hurts. I did walk almost every single day during lockdown. That promise was kept. That one felt really, really good. So, what promises have you been trying to make to yourself? What ones have you been breaking? And how can you give yourself the minimal effort to fail? So, if it's, I want to go for a walk every single day, maybe that turns into, I'm going to pull out my walking shoes every morning. Doesn't mean that you have to put them on and go. It just means that every morning you're starting to pull out your walking shoes and start that process. Maybe it's, I want to do 10 minutes of yoga every morning. I know I've had that one for a while. Your minimum effort to fail. I'm going to pull out my yoga mat every single day. Doesn't mean I have to get on it. Doesn't mean I'm going to actually do yoga, but I'm going to pull out my yoga mat every single morning. So really think about what promises you can make to yourself, and then how you can really, like, turn those promises into something that works for you, that makes you feel good, and a promise that you can keep to yourself. Because we don't want to be that friend that's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be there, and then they never show up. So take the time to write out what you want to accomplish and the minimal effort to fail for you to start accomplishing those. And then start with one. Do not do all of them all at once. Start with one. So I hope that helps you as well. This really helped me out yesterday. And have a fabulous, fabulous day.